might not be a major concern to most of us, but it is among the leading causes of death in Kenya, and especially right here in Nairobi. The World Health Organization estimates that 19,000 people die annually from air pollution. Today we shift our focus on transport air pollution, its effects on the environment, and most importantly, its effects to you and me, and generally to human life. Transport is one of the biggest contributors to air pollution, and it affects health in many ways, both positively and negatively. Some of its benefits include access to education, employment, goods, services, and leisure, as well as incorporating physical activity into daily living. The transport sector, however, has its setbacks when it comes to the human health and climate change. For instance, air pollution, noise pollution, obesity, greenhouse gas emissions, and injuries. In this case, transport air pollution is one of the leading risk factors for death, but its impacts go even further. And according to Dr. Mwaniki, a climate change expert, air pollution is one of the main contributors to global disease burden.
Air pollution has many impacts. The main concern is its impact on health. Some of the biggest issues is things like asthma, heart diseases, stroke. It has also been linked to premature stillborns, and also some forms of cancer, and also diabetes. So it's linked to a lot of diseases. And why this is the case is because when you breathe in dirty air, the way God made your system, if you eat dirty food, the stomach has acids and a way of getting rid of those elements that get into the food system. Same thing with water, but when you breathe in dirty air, the system did not evolve or was not created to live in polluted areas. So when you breathe in that air, it goes straight to your lungs, and then from the lungs, it penetrates to the bloodstream. So there is no protection mechanism. And because different chemicals are usually in the air, so once they get in the bloodstream, then they affect different organs differently. And that's why you hear it has these very wide health impacts. In the short term, when you breathe that air, you might feel wheezing, coughing. Those are the immediate impacts when you're in a smoky house. But when you're in a room like this or walking around the city, you might not experience those short-lived impacts. But once you breathe those chemicals and get into the bloodstream, then later on they'll have some impact to your health.
To some extent, transport pollution leads to effects on mental health, including risk-taking and aggressive behaviors, depression, and the post-traumatic psychological effects of accidents, which shortens life expectancy. In prenatal, air pollution leads to reduced growth. At birth, it leads to decreased lung growth, reduced lung function, lower respiratory infections, and developmental effects. Air pollution concentrations on roads are relatively high, and commuters face unavoidable exposure during commuting as they are near the sources of emissions.
When a car passes through you, where you are seated or walking, you see the smoke, you smell the gasoline. Transport sector contributes around 40 to 50% of pollution in Nairobi. And the main reason is because there are very limited regulations on how to maintain vehicles.
Transport air pollution plays a major role when it comes to climate change.
Air pollution has a couple of pollutants that also do drive the climate system. And they're called the short-lived climate pollutants. These include particulate matter, things like ground level ozone, NO2, which is more of air pollution, but because of atmospheric processes, it does lead to formation of ozone. We do have other things like black carbon, which is an air pollutant, is a particulate, but also is a major driver.
Climate conditions would also be a possible solution to address the transport changes in Kenya. Remember, let's unite to clear the air, safeguarding our health and the generations to come.